In this video, we are going to continue our beginner photographer video series by showing you what we look for when looking for photo shoot locations. But first,
this video is sponsored by Professional Photographers of America. You can join a community of over 30,000 photographers that includes equipment insurance, education, and business tools made specifically for photographers.
The first thing we look for in portrait locations is the quality of light. One of the biggest mistakes that beginner photographers make is sacrificing light for what they deem to be a cool location. If you are shooting with available light, your photos will turn out way better if you use the backdrop that has the best lighting, even if it wasn't your first choice.
Lighting is crucial to photography, so when we're walking around looking for vignettes to shoot, lighting will often determine where we end up and at what time. As a photographer, it's important to know where the sun will be in the sky when you're shooting. If it's up to us to choose the time for a shoot, our favorite time to shoot is golden hour, which is shortly after sunrise or just before sunset when the sun is lower in the sky. And where we live, that's more like 20 minutes and not an hour, but you get the idea.
During golden hour, the sun isn't casting harsh shadows on our subject or creating strong highlights across our frame. Instead, it provides warmer color and less contrast, making it pretty ideal for photographers like us who primarily shoot with just available light from the sun.
If you're in a more urban environment with lots of glass buildings, you can also use beautifully creamy light in the late afternoon when the sun reflects off the glass from the nearby buildings. We always keep our eye out for pockets of beautiful light to shoot in like this.
If we're stuck at shooting less than ideal times, we tend to gravitate toward areas with even lighting, usually shade from a nearby building or trees. When shooting portraits, we usually want our subject to be in even light, both for their own comfort and to avoid unflattering shadows. This is why we also enjoy shooting on overcast or rainy days where the clouds provide lots of diffusion of sunlight. While this lighting isn't as dramatic and doesn't provide as much dimension, it does make it easier to have pleasant light on your subject and avoid undesirable high contrast situations.
There are exceptions to the even light rule, of course. For instance, we always like to look for interesting patterns of light and shadows that can provide additional visual interest. This, of course, all depends on the style of photography you're shooting, but don't feel like you need to avoid harsh or shadowed light completely. There's definitely a time and place for it.
One last thing to consider when it comes to lighting and your locations is the fact that you can use a 5-in-1 reflector to bounce light onto your subject or just diffuse harsh light altogether. So if you find a backdrop that you absolutely want to shoot in, but lighting is less than ideal, you can still make it work with a reflector.
Another element we like to keep our eye out for is striking colors that will help to reinforce the mood of our portraits. Some colors may just complement the colors our subject is wearing, or bring out the color of her eyes.
Sometimes you may want to have colors in your scene play a bigger role in the photograph. Here, these rainbow steps add some vibrancy and life into a photo that may otherwise feel drab and moody. Also, something simple like a white wall of a building can give you a distraction-free backdrop to draw the focus in on your subject.
Even when working in interior rooms, we look for colors that can tie to the theme or mood to create better portraits.
Do you want to try to do something with the bathrooms?
Here, the bathroom wallpaper worked really well, along with the bedspread, pillows, and artwork.
We look for interesting textures in similar ways that we do with color. When integrating them into your photos, textures should help add visual interest and once again reinforce the mood you're going for. Dirty, grungy textures can complement an edgier portrait, whereas softer, more subtle textures can be used when you just want less attention drawn to your background. A clean surface is great for a minimalist, clean portrait, but if you want to add some depth and interest to a photo, a textured background will help you achieve that.
Another way to utilize textures without them being too dominant is to adjust your depth of field. Bringing your subject farther away from the background can help you blur the background more, as well as moving closer to your subject to create a more shallow depth of field.
Perhaps the most obvious tip for finding locations is choosing a spot with a beautiful backdrop like a skyline, a mountain range, whatever. Of course, maybe you live in a small town or a more rural area without the idyllic landscape of California, in which case you may have parks, orchards, or fields that you can utilize instead. As always, lighting is key, so set yourself up for success by planning your shoot during optimal lighting conditions. Okay, before we move on, we want to tell you about the sponsor of today's video, PPA, Professional Photographers of America. We're members of PPA, and we think you may want to join as well.
For a low monthly price, you'll get $15,000 worth of equipment insurance, which every photographer should have. And you'll also get access to data loss recovery services, which is really crucial if you shoot events and weddings.
They also have a library of over 900 hours of educational videos and tons of small business resources like customizable contracts. So if you need a portrait contract, a corporate event photography contract, a photo booth contract, a model release, they've got you covered.
In case that wasn't enough, you'll also get access to vendor discounts to places like Apple, B&H, and Dell, so it's kind of a no-brainer.
With over 30,000 members, joining PPA is a great way to start out on the right foot with your photography business or just take it to the next level. This membership easily pays for itself with everything it offers, so quit goofing off, check out the link in our description, and you'll save some money when you sign up.
In reality, you'll often find that combining some or all of these elements will create some of the best backdrops for your portraits. For instance, a tree blooming with flowers can give you both texture and color, and may even provide nice even light.
You may even find cool backdrops in unexpected places, like behind a Walgreens in Northwest Indiana.
For us, we find parking garages can be a great place to find cool light and interesting textures. Plus, the roof of the garage may give you some pretty cool views as well. And you may find a combination of nice light, textures, and color.
If you are planning a portrait shoot with a friend or a model and don't have time to scout out locations in person, try checking out the area on Google Earth. Look for little vignettes that may be potential portrait locations, so that way you can be more prepared at the time of the shoot. For instance, here I am in small town Indiana. No spectacular skylines or geographic points of interest, but we can start to look for interesting vignettes. Here we have an alleyway that may be pretty cool. And here's some pretty vibrant colors from a nearby bakery. And just around the corner, we have 2 brick walls that could give us some texture. And since straight ahead is north, later in the afternoon, the left side will be shaded and the right side will get some nice light, and vice versa in the morning. And just a block ahead is some brick with some vintage paint wearing away, which could be pretty cool as well.
This method can help you get a game plan going into the shoot so you feel more confident and prepared.
Recap. 1. Lighting is generally the most crucial aspect to any photo, so that may help determine your location.
2. Set yourself up for success by planning your shoot during optimal lighting conditions like golden hour.
3. Use colors in your environment to reinforce the mood of your shoot to create more striking portraits.
4. Look to integrate textures to add more visual interest and contrast in your background.
5. Embrace whatever landscape your location has to offer.
No matter where you live in the world, we hope you can apply these tips the next time you go out and take some photos. And if you're looking for more tips for beginners, we've made an entire playlist of videos just for you, and we're going to link that in the description box below.
Also, while you're down in our description box, check out our link for PPA to get a sweet discount on your membership, and tune in January 17th through 19th for the largest photographic event, Imaging USA, right from the comfort of your home.
Like this video if you like locations.
Subscribe if you don't.
And check out our new channels, Daniel's little finance channel and my little fitness channel.
See you in the next one.
Daniel's, oh, I'm sorry for the,
Don't ever touch my microphone.
sorry.
It's precious.
Check out Daniel's finance channel.
That's my nipple.
And check out my, let's start over.
Cut.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.